Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto was the Conqueror of the Shinobi world. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. So now let's start this video. The harbor of Degarashi. It was time for the grand race. Fireworks were shot up in the sky, and the whole town was cheering loudly for the support of both families, mostly the Wasabi. Wow, I didn't realize this race was going to be this big. The whole town is here. So what kind of race is this anyway? Asked her current team captain. The kind that starts and finish. Naruto joked with some innocent sarcasm to his girlfriend. Aren't you, Whiskers? Said with a pout. Hahaha well, according to Jiracho-san, the starting point is here, at the harbor of Degarashi. From here, the runners will head for the Todoroki Shrine, which is located on Nagia Island, the midpoint of the race. Naruto informed his teammates as he held up a map to show their headings. I guess we'll be sailing then. Unless Idate is to run on water all the way to the island. Shikamaru said, hoping it wasn't true. Don't worry, Shika. It seems the first leg of the race is to use a boat from here. Once we reach Nagia Island, the runner has to take one of two Ryuko's jewels from the Todoroki Shrine, and run all the way to dedicate their jewel at the Great Todoroki Shrine. Whoever makes it there first, wins. That's as far as the basic rules go, but other than that, anything goes. Shortcuts, obstructions, and secret maneuvers are all allowed. Naruto informed his team. So hiring a ninja is not a violation of the rules either, Shikamaru said. But where are the ninjas of the Wagarashi family? Asked. It seems they are keeping a low profile. But make no mistake, they are around. I can sense stronger chakra signatures here, but there are too many people to pinpoint. Naruto said with narrowed eyes at the crowd of people. I don't care what you guys do. Just don't get in my way. I have a race to win. Idate called out to his young bodyguards. Don't worry, Idate. You just focus on running. We'll be right behind you. Said to the Wasabi runner. Besides, it's our job to make sure no one gets in your way. But if we encounter any opposition, you will do what we say. Understood. Naruto said with an authoritative voice. PFFT whatever Idate merely scoffed. Then the announcer spoke through the loudspeaker. Attention. Attention. The Great Todoroki Shrine race is about to begin. Running for the Wasabi family, Idate Morino. Many of the town folk cheered for him. Running for the Wagarashi family, Fukusuka Kikuya. Many of the Wagarashi followers cheered for him. Runners take your mark. As the two runners prepared themselves to run, and the large harbor doors slowly opened to reveal their boats still on dock, Idate then notices a gathering of clouds on the horizon, and knew what he had to do. That's set. Go. The two runners began to run at fast speeds, towards their boats. That's our cue too. Let's G what the... Naruto yelled out in shock. Instead of running towards the ships, Idate made a left turn, and ran elsewhere. What is that idiot doing? Yelled out, as Team 10 chases after Idate. Idate, where are you going? The boat is that way. Shikamaru surprisingly yelled out. Eyes, let's just follow him, for now. He might know what he's doing. Naruto calmly informed his team. Are you sure? Asked her blonde captain. Idate may be a prick, but he's completely loyal to Jiracho-san. He wouldn't do anything to let him down. For now, we just follow him, and make sure he's safe. I just hope my hunch is right. Naruto said with hope in his voice. I hope so too, Naruto-kun. Because this is our first C-rank mission. And I'll kill Idate if we fail. Said with slightly angry tone. Don't worry, if we do, I'll help you. Naruto said with a soft smile to his blonde girlfriend. The Genin trio then continued to follow the Wasabi family runner, hoping that he is still actually competing, instead of fleeing. As Idate continues to run further away from the harbor, Team 10 is now currently on his tail. Wanted to yell at Idate for the wrong direction he is heading, but Naruto suggested that they keep their distance for now. As much as he dislikes the arrogant Wasabi runner, he can already tell that Idate is fiercely loyal to Jiracho, and would never betray him in such a way. The Blondachi had decided to put some faith in Idate, and trust that the Wasabi runner knows what he is doing, and he is going with the best course of action to win the race. Aside from all of that, Naruto's senses were going crazy. Whether if it was because of his natural sensory ability, or Kurama's negative emotion detection. He could feel that they were being followed, and judging from their chakra signature, they were Shinobi, and mid-Genin level at best. Idate was now running on a cliffside. But unbeknownst to him, he was caught in a genjutsu that made him believe that he was running in circles. Team 10 noticed this, and was about to help the Wasabi runner, but then they saw Idate had already noticed the illusion, and perform a single hand seal to disrupt his chakra flow, easily freeing himself from the genjutsu. Team 10 was currently following behind him, as they continued to jump from tree branch to tree branch, just above the cliffside that Idate was running on. So he is a ninja, or maybe he received some level of shinobi training. What are you not telling us, Idate? Naruto thought to himself in wonder, but the rest of his team were able to hear, since Ino's mind link is still on. His speed alone is almost Chunin level, and judging from the way he notices and dispelled that genjutsu earlier, proves it. Shikamaru added in with his thoughts. Yeah, I guess that's holy crap. Ino didn't get to finish her sentence in her mind when she notices that Idate was about to run off the cliff. Idate. Ino yelled out to the wasabi runner. But Idate noticed it too late. Apparently, after he dispelled the genjutsu that was casted upon him and continues to run forward blindly, there was a second layer of genjutsu in his place. As Idate was about to fall off the cliff, he felt his body completely paralyzed. Shadow possession success. Thanks for the shunshin Naruto, Shikamaru said with a sigh of relief with Naruto next to him, with his hand on Inara's shoulder. Naruto was able to shunshin himself and Shikamaru near Idate, so the lazy Nara was able to catch him with his shadow before he could fall. Yeah, that was too close, Ino said, as she jumps down from her tree branch to meet up with the rest of her team. Hey, what gives? Let me go. Idate demanded, with hint of annoyance and anger in his tone. Hey, Shika and Naruto-kun just saved your ass, so how about a little thank you? Ino yelled out, trying to defend her teammates' actions. Yeah right, like I would give my thanks to ninja runs like you, Idate said with an arrogant and disgusted expression on his face. Well you lousy, Ino was about to yell for the insult, but she was interrupted by her blonde paramour, who finally decided that he had enough with the wasabi runner's attitude. Enough. Listen here, Idate. You were caught in a genjutsu, which means the shinobis of the Wagarashi are not too far behind us. Instead of escorting Fukasu to the Todoroki shrine, they were sent to eliminate you. Now I have been very patient with you. Very patient. But you almost got yourself killed, which could have jeopardized our mission and the race. So I want you to tell us what you are planning, now. Or I'll have Ino go through your mind. And I don't care how long it takes. Naruto said with a serious tone. Look, I don't need your help, okay? The only reason you saved me is because you are bound to by duty. Idate said with an annoyed scoff. And I don't care. Tell us your plan. Now. Naruto ordered with the same serious tone, and glared heavily at the wasabi runner. Where are we going, Idate? What happened to poor Degarashi? Shikamaru asked, as he too wanted to know what his Idate's actual plan is, as he releases his shadow possession on the wasabi runner. What about it? Forget the port. I'm heading north from here. Idate stated clearly. You are? So does that mean it is faster that way? Ino asked. That's right. Idate said with a smirk. How do we know we can trust you? Naruto said with narrowed eyes. That's the problem with you ninjas. You can't trust anything, can you? Idate yelled out for the mistrust. You haven't really given us a choice, did you? You conned us when we first met, and it looked like you ran away when the race started. Shikamaru said with a bored tone. I am not running away. Look, at this time of the year, there are some pretty strong seasonal winds blowing hard across the sea. Back at the starting point, I noticed the clouds. I can see the wind blowing towards us. On top of that, at the port to the north, there's an ocean current that flows directly to Nabi Island. Idate explained. So you weren't running away this whole time. You were just using a shortcut, Ino said, trying to summarize the actual plan. That's what I was saying. You need to use this more little right here, Idate said mockingly, as he pointed his thumb to his head, indicating his brain. Nevertheless, I suggest you be more transparent with us in the future. The shinobis of the Wagarashi are currently on our tail, and it's best that travel together. Naruto suggested, but it sounded more like an order. HMPH whatever. Just try to keep up. Idate said, as he turns to continue to head north. Team 10 and Idate continue to head north to the second harbor in full speed. Idate explained to them that a local fisherman there is more than willing to help the Wasabi family by providing his fastest boat to them. Naruto notices the level of admiration and respect the fisherman spoke of Jiracho, and how much the Wasabi had done for the local folks of the land of tea. He realizes that the stakes of the race are more impactful than he thought. This beautiful land should not have to suffer any more under the heels of the Wagarashi. Even if he still doesn't like Idate as a person, he will ensure that he wins the race no matter what. Too many good people are depending on it. The fisherman's boat. As they sailed over the clear seas, Idate had a look of worry on his face. Even if he doesn't doubt his speed to win the race, nothing is certain. Especially when shinobis are involved. He gritted his teeth in anger and frustration, and decided to ask his bodyguards the question that he always wondered. Why did guys want to become a shinobi anyway? Idate asked out of the blue. What do you mean? Shikamaru asked in return, not knowing what it really meant. What does it sound like? I'm asking, what made you guys decide to wake up one day and put on some stupid headband and become a disposable soldier to your village? Idate asked harshly with a bit of venom in voice. Hey. We are not disposable, you jerk. Ino yelled out to the disrespectful runner. Every shinobi is disposable. I mean, you guys are just genins, and yet you say things like you've seen it all. You are not even chunin yet, so how would you know that you are not disposable, huh? Idate yelled out in return. Is that why you hate shinobis? Is because you didn't get to become a chunin? Naruto asked with a monotone voice, as he continues to steer the boat. What? Idate asked with surprise in his voice. I remember now, why your name is so familiar to me. I have a lover who works in the Torture and Interrogation Corporation in Konoha, and she mentioned she works under two higher-ups. Inoichi Imanka, which is Ino's father, and Ibiki Morino, the head of T. I assume he's a relative of yours. Naruto said, as he finally put all the pieces together of Idate's true identity. What did you say? My brother is alive. Idate asked in disbelief, as he always thought that his brother had died in an explosion. Yes he is, Idate. And judging from your skills and knowledge, you were Genin of Konoha. Naruto simply said. Idate was speechless, as he couldn't believe that the little blonde Genin was quite a detective. Idate, I don't know what happened to cause you to be this way, but Naruto didn't get to finish his sentence, as he instinctively dodged an incoming arrow that almost hit his head. Ambush! Naruto yelled out. The four youngsters turned their heads and saw there was another boat chasing behind them, with three men standing on top the deck of the ship. Each of them were wearing matching yellow jumpsuits which was stitched up the middle. They were also wearing an rain forehead protector that covers their whole heads, and some sort of breathing apparatus. Their faces were covered with a white sash, with eye holes cut out. One of them had both, the other had only one, and the last had none at all. Looks like I missed, Oboro says, the one with only an eye hole in his sash, and is holding a crossbow in his hand. That doesn't matter, Mubi. How are we doing anyway, Kagari? Asked the supposed leader with both eye holes in his sash, now identified as Oboro. See for yourself. They're just up ahead. Says the eye hole-less aim ninja, known as Kagari. Alright then. Let's get rolling, Oboro declared to his team. Mubi then fired a bunch of arrows towards Team 10's boat. Naruto saw the incoming projectiles, and made several hand seals, and thrust his open hand forward. Wind style. Gale palm. The strong force of wind blew all the arrows away, preventing any damage on their ship. Looks like they have a wind style user. No matter, Mubi says, as he places more arrows on his crossbow and fired them all towards the boat. But it was all in vain, as Naruto once again managed to easily blow all the arrows away with his gale palm. Naruto-kun, you know where we are, right? Ino asked, when she realizes the major advantage they have, due to their current location. What do you mean, Ino? Naruto asked, not sure what she meant. I mean, look at what we are surrounded by now, Ino said, as she waves her hands around, to show what they have been standing on this whole time. The Oshin. Clever girl. Naruto said with smirk. Guys, will you please stop flirting with each for 1 second? We are kind of in a situation here. Shikamaru said with tired sigh. Relax, Shika. Besides, there's a new jutsu I just mastered from one of the scrolls Asuma-sensei had given me. And I'm dying to test it out. And since we are at the ocean, I don't need to use the moisture in the air for this one, Naruto said with his confident smirk, never leaving his face. Naruto then proceeded to make a very long combination of hand seals, but it was impressively fast on the naked eye. The ocean beneath them was violently shaking, as soon as Naruto had finished his last hand seal. Oboro and his team felt a little nervous, when they felt the sudden chakra spike from the blonde shinobi. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. A very large dragon made of water rose from the ocean and was sent flying towards Team Oboro's ship in incredible speed. Its glowing yellow eyes were narrowed, as its deafening roar echoed throughout the sea. Team Oboro were in a state of complete shock to witness such a powerful jutsu. They had heard of the water dragon jutsu, but they never imagined it could be this big and powerful. The water dragon crashed into the enemy boat, completely annihilating it into pieces. Well, I guess that takes care of that, Naruto said with a satisfied smile. Idate was in disbelief to see the so-called blonde runt destroyed the enemy ninjas in one fell swoop. Even though he would never admit it, Idate now has a new sense of respect and deep fear towards the blonde Uchiha. But unfortunately, it wasn't over yet. Naruto! Shikamaru yelled out from behind, as suddenly many copies of Team Oboro were rising from the deck of his ship. Ino, protect Idate. Shikamaru. You and me will get rid of these clowns once and for all. Naruto ordered with a serious tone. As the trio of leaf ninjas continued to hit the multiple clones, they noticed they were as intangible as ghosts, yet were able to inflict some damages. These are haze clones. Hitting them is a waste of time. Naruto. These things are practically the standard clone jutsu. The only difference is, we can't hit them to dispel them. The real ones are probably hiding somewhere among them. Shikamaru informed his team leader, as he continues his assault to find the real ones. Can you find them? Naruto-kun Ino asked, as she blocks an incoming kunai that was thrown at her. Yeah, I just need a second. Naruto tried to kneel down to use his sensory ability, but could not, as Team Oboro kept attacking him as soon as he let his guard down. You better stay close to my side, Idate. Ino said to the wasabi runner. No way. Why would I want any help from a bunch of ninjas? Idate stubbornly yelled out, as he still despises all ninjas from his core. Look around you, asshole. Beggars can't be choosers, Naruto said to Idate in annoyance, but then he saw one of the aim ninja was about to pounce on Shikamaru. behind you," Naruto yelled out. The real Kagari jumped down to attack Shikamaru from behind, but the Nara managed to duck out of the way just in time, thanks to Naruto's warning. Shikamaru then crouches on one knee, and made a single hand seal. Ninja Art. Shadow Possession Jutsu. Shikamaru's shadow was sent towards Kagari and was able to catch and trap him. But Shikamaru was forced to let go, as Oboro threw kunai towards him, and he was forced to dodge once again. Shit. This is going to take forever. And I need to catch all three of them with my shadow to make them stop. But I can't find the originals with these clones hanging around. Naruto. Can you detect them with your sensory jutsu? Shikamaru asked his blonde team leader. It's over. Give up I-Date and we might let you live. Oboro yelled out with smirk behind his breather. Tempting. But I'd rather kick your asses than sell out a comrade, Naruto said with determined eyes. Comrade. I-Date said in disbelief that Naruto actually thought of him as a comrade. You have any ideas? Shikamaru asked, as he is now back to back with Naruto, with many of the Haze clones surrounding them. Just one. And, sorry you have to find out this way, Shika. Naruto said with a sad smile. Find out what? Shikamaru asked with a raised eyebrow. Don't say we didn't give you chance, now we will, Mubi said, but didn't get to finish his sentence, as he saw Naruto perform several unique hand seals, that ends with a snake seal. Steam style. Shower of needles. Many shards of sharp steam that had somehow became physical, but very hard to see from the naked eye, suddenly appear out of thin air, floating around Naruto and Shikamaru. They were then shot from all directions, hitting all the Haze clones, and eventually the originals. The steam shards were endless, and they were impossible to dodge. Oboro was hit in the stomach, Kagari was hit in his left shoulder and right thigh, but Mubi was hit directly in his single eye, killing him instantly. As the remaining two AIM ninja yell out in incredible pain, all of the Haze clones disappeared. Shikamaru was surprised to see his friend use steam release for the first time in front of him. He knew Naruto was strong before, but now this is just ridiculous. Just how strong is the troublesome blonde? He was also troubled that Naruto had killed Mubi like it was normal. Shikamaru then uses his shadow possession jutsu once again, to bind Oboro and Kagari. Hopefully, they can try to get some information out of them. After Ino had tended to their wounds, Naruto had tied up Oboro and Kagari to the pole of the boat. Now that I have your attention, how many of you are there? Naruto asked Oboro, with a cold tone. You bastard. You killed Mubi. I will make sure you die a slow and painful death. But not before I kill your friends in front of you. Oboro threatened with pure rage in his eyes. The blonde had just killed his comrade, and he vows to make him suffer for it. Naruto had been given some lessons of interrogation from his uncle, and he knew that to get information from an enemy, pain must be inflicted. While he would rather have Ino use one of her clan's signature jutsus to simply extract the information from their heads, unfortunately she has not yet learned the Yamanaka's infamous Psycho Mind Transmission Jutsu. According to her father, it is a very advanced level technique of their clan, which she was still not ready to learn yet. So now Naruto needed to use the old-fashioned way. Naruto then created an steam shard. The shard itself was almost colorless, almost completely invisible. Naruto grabbed the shard in his right hand, and stabbed Oboro's left kneecap with it, causing the AIM ninja to scream out in agonizing pain. I'm going to ask you again, how? Naruto began to twist the shard into Oboro's kneecap without even flinching. Many. God damn it. Fuck you. You. I swear I will. Out. There. Ha 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 ha. You just wait, kid. Aoi-sensei is going to kill you all, with his sword. Oboro said with a large evil grin behind his breather. Aoi-sensei. I-Date said to himself with shock, as he thought he would never have to hear that accursed name again. But, not before I kill you first. Oboro said, with a sinister grin never leaving his face. Naruto didn't like the sound of his tone, and as he subconsciously concentrated his chakra into his ears, he heard the sound of burning paper. All over the boat. Get off the boat. Now. Hearing the fear in his voice, Ino, Shikamaru and I-Date immediately ran to the edge of the boat. Ha ha ha, see you in hell, Blondie. Oboro yelled out in satisfaction. Team 10 managed to jump out of the boat in time, before it was completely destroyed in a fiery explosion, courtesy of the many paper bombs Oboro and his team managed to place when they first attacked. Oboro and Kagari were no doubt killed in the explosion, but the shockwave of the blast had managed to separate Team 10 from I-Date. Nagi Island. I-Date was able to swim all the way to the island, but he could not locate his ninja bodyguards anywhere. While he would not admit it to himself, he really hopes that they survive the explosion, and soon find their way back to him. The race was still far from over after all. As he climbs up the rocks to drag himself away from unforgiving sea, he felt a shadow of a man standing over him. The man that was standing before I-Date gave him nothing but a smug grin. Long time no see, I-Date, the man says, with a cocky tone. You, Aoi Rakusho, you son of AHH. I-Date didn't get to finish his sentence, as he was grabbed by his hair, and was thrown very hard on the rocky surface. Now is that any way to treat your old sensei? Really, how many times do I have to teach you to never trust anyone? The man now identified as Aoi says, as he reaches for the heavy umbrella on his back and began to beat Idate with it. Such a fool you are. Naruto, Ino and Shikamaru managed to swim all the way to the sandy shores of Nagia Island. They could still see what was left of their burning boat from afar, that is currently sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Are you guys alright? Naruto asks his team. Yeah, we're okay. Shikamaru responded, as he panted to regain his breath. Wait, where's Idate? Ino asked, as she looks around to see no signs of their fourth member. It looks like we were separated during the explosion. Hang on, I'll try to find him. Naruto said, with worry in his voice. Naruto then knelt down, and places his index on the sandy ground, and closes his eyes to concentrate. The island was vast, and he could detect many small chakra signatures gathering at the Todoroki shrine. They're probably the villagers who came all the way to support their runners, when they arrived to collect their Ryuko jewel and head straight to the Todoroki shrine. Naruto then detected 2 chakra signatures that were near them. One he recognizes as Idate's, but the other had high Chunin level chakra and a strong sense of malice. The young Uchiha managed to combine both his natural sensory ability and Kurama's negative emotion detector. The result is a very powerful sensory skill that can track and identify any target with ease. I found him, but he's not alone. We need to move now. Naruto informed his team with urgency. Right, both Ino and Shikamaru responded in unison. Team 10 then set off to look for their 4th ninja-hating member. But despite their differences, Naruto truly hopes that Idate will be alright when they arrive. With Idate and Aoi, the Jonin continues to beat the defenseless Wasabi runner without mercy in the heavily rain area. Idate had bruises all over his face, and sunburns all over his body. What's worse, is that Aoi continues to verbally belittle the Wasabi runner of his self-worth as he beats him to a pulp, calling him a coward and a worthless human being that doesn't deserve to live. Time's running out, Idate. Fukusuka will be at the Todoroki shrine right about now. Any chance you have is long gone. Aoi gloated with grin. Idate was feeling weakened by the beating, and dropped down to his knees, and eventually on his belly. Your running days are over. You can't even stand up. Once the poison in those senbons finishes spreading through your body, you will be crossing a different sort of finish line. The last finish line of death, Aoi said, with the evil grin never leaving his face. Idate felt his will to fight was slowly fading away, as he tries desperately to reach for the pocket knife that was on the ground in front of him. What do you really think you can do with that little pocket knife? Aoi asked out of pity, for the sorry side of the Wasabi runner. Aoi then reached out to grab the pocket knife on the ground, but his hand was immediately slapped away by Idate, as the Wasabi runner desperately clings to it. No? Don't touch it. Idate declared, as he somehow maintained his defiant spirit. Feeling annoyed, Aoi continues to beat the helpless Idate. The Jonin stomped his foot on Idate's hand that was still clinging on the pocket knife, and kicked the Wasabi runner directly on the face. He then began to stomp on his weakened body. You fool. Were you hoping to show the world that you are a man of integrity? You could have just run away. You picked the wrong time to try to redeem yourself, Idate. Aoi said with cold casual tone. The Jonin then places his foot firmly on Idate's chest, waiting to let the poison in his senbons finally finishing the Wasabi runner off for good. Idate was weak and he could feel his consciousness fading. As he was about to drift off to unconsciousness, he heard a loud cry of a familiar voice. Water style. Liquid bullet. A large orb of water came rocketing towards the direction of the Jonin. Aoi was able to jump out of the way in time, but by doing so, Idate was freed from the hold of his foot. The water bullet was sent crashing onto the ground, causing a medium-sized crater. Aoi, who saw the results of the sudden attack, was intrigued to see who was the caster of such powerful water jutsu. Idate. Yelled out by Ino, who immediately went to him to check on his wounds, while Naruto and Shikamaru went to confront the Jonin. Aoi was surprised to see a team of 3 Konoha Genins, who is now standing between him and his target. I assume you are in charge of the 3 AIM ninjas that attacked us? Naruto asked. Yes, and apparently, they weren't quite up to the job. Where are they anyway? Aoi asked with a bored tone, wondering where his Genin team is. Dead. And you will be too, if you don't step away. Naruto answered and threatened. Quite a tough guy, aren't you, little man? That's a shame though, I was planning to enroll my foolish Genin team to the next Chunin exams. Ah well, you win some, you lose some. It makes no difference to me. Aoi said like it was no big deal. You say that, like they are replaceable. Shikamaru said with narrowed eyes. Though they are, it is just going to be a hassle to find a new team, that's all. Aoi coldly answered. You son of a bitch. They might be our enemies, but they were your comrades. How could you disrespect them like that? Ino demanded to know what sort of Jonin would care so less for his Genin team. They were nothing but tools to me. That is all. But thanks to you lot, you proved that they were a bunch of useless tools, so I need to replace them once this is all over. But why are you so upset about it? Isn't that what we shinobi are? We use every tool we have for our benefit, Aoi said with a smug look. It's scum like you, who give the title of Shinobi a bad name, Ino said with a hint of anger. And it's kids like you, who dies easily for their childlike views of the world. Aoi retaliated Ino's last comment with his own. Naruto stood silent at his comments about Ninja World. Aoi then threw his umbrella up in the air and made a single hand seal. Ninja art. Senbon shower. The umbrella then started to spin and shot out countless poisonous senbons in all directions, that is now raining downwards on Team 10. Naruto then performed several hand seals and took a deep breath. Wine style. Great breakthrough. All the senbons were blown away before they could hit any of the Konoha Genins, which causes Aoi to grit his teeth in annoyance. But then heard a feminine voice yell out from behind him. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Ino blew out multiple fireballs towards the aim Jonin, and Aoi was struggling as he dodges the many very lethal fire attacks. Aoi then jumps up high in the air and grabs his still airborne umbrella. He then swings it downwards and unleashed a strong force of wind towards Team 10. They managed to jump out of the way, but Ino was hit full force, as she used her body to shield the still unconscious and defenseless Idate from the attack. As Aoi was still in the air, smirking with satisfaction, as he was able to hit one of the pesky Genins. He then realizes that one of them is missing. He then saw a single kunai thrown in the direction towards his chest. Aoi smiled smugly, as he was able to dodge the kunai before it hits him. But as the kunai passed by him, he saw paper attached on the ring of the handle, causing his eyes to widen as he realizes what it was. Boom. Apparently Shikamaru had taken advantage of the chaos after Aoi's aerial assault, and made an unexpected sneak attack on the aim Jonin, with a paper bomb attached kunai. Aoi managed to use his umbrella to shield himself from the explosion in time, but not without escaping with some minor burns. His umbrella however was not so lucky, as it was now completely destroyed. The aim Jonin then landed on the ground, on his feet, cursing the pesky Konoha Genins under his breath. But when he heard the sound of a loud roar behind him, his eyes widened when he saw a very large water dragon heading straight towards him. Realizing that there was no other choice, Aoi reached into his pouch and pulled out some sort of sword handle. Afterwards, a glowing double-edged blade made of pure yellow electrical energy emerged from the handle. Aoi then uses the energy sword to slice through the water dragon before it could harm him. What is that thing? Naruto thought in interest when he saw the unique sword cut through his attack like it was nothing. Suddenly, they heard the sound of loud cheering coming from the direction of the Todoroki shrine. Fukazuka must have reached the Todoroki shrine. You three are quite impressive for a bunch of Genins, but your mission is already a failure. The poison will soon kill Idate. He's finished. You better pray that we won't see each other again. Because next time, my sword of the Thunder God will cut right through you all. Aoi threatened with a confident smirk before he shunshed away. Damn it, Shikamaru said with a frustrated tone. Sword of the Thunder God, huh? I wonder how that useless Jonin got his hands on a weapon like that. Naruto thought out of curiosity. A sword like that belonged to the second Hokage, one who was beaten only by Hashirama and Madara. To think his weapon would be used by a nobody. The blonde found it amusing that Konoha had allowed itself to lose such a powerful weapon, but knowing the state of Konoha, he shouldn't be surprised. He wondered what the real Naruto was doing right now. Last night the blonde used shadow clones to do the mission, while he decided to visit a certain giant red monkey. Naruto-kun. Shika. Ino yelled out to her two teammates. Naruto and Shikamaru immediately ran to her side, as they both could hear the urgency in her tone. Ino, what's wrong? It's Idate, his pulse is weakening. We need to get him out of here, so I can treat the poison, Ino informed her teammates of the Wasabi runner's dire condition. Right? Shika, help me carry him. Naruto ordered the pineapple-haired boy, as they both carried the unconscious Idate, shoulder to shoulder. Somewhere else. Ao stepped into a pub, his face hidden by a thick hood, with just his chin visible from the outside. The rain had been pouring down for 2 days, and he was feeling cold and bitter as he approached the bar where he was meant to meet the informer. Byakugan activated, he took a quick glance around the bar, looking for anybody who could have been following him. After all, Yaguru's spies would do everything to get a hold of him. As he surveyed the room, his attention was drawn to a single individual sitting alone in a table wearing a black hoodie with dark hair sticking out. Upon approaching the guy, Ao saw nothing unusual about him, and decided to review the note that Mei-sama had handed him before approaching. Dark hoodie, slightly long dark hair, sitting alone. When you approach, say the word Mizu. Ao approached him and the guy moved with far more speed than he could have anticipated, lowering his hoodie around his right eye, and showing a Mingekyo Sharingan in the process. Tsukiyomi. Before he could process what had just happened, Ao found himself in a completely different environment. The sky had turned dark, and the moon had turned blood red. Below him, there was blood red water, and, amid the cries of crows as they all suddenly rushed to the same spot in front of him, a man slowly appeared. With his breath stopped in his throat and perspiration pouring down his forehead, Ao couldn't comprehend why his Byakugan had seen an entirely different face behind the hood. The butcher of the Uchiha clan was recognized by Uchiha Itachi. Inside of a cave. Team 10 was now taking shelter from the heavy rain, inside a small cave that is nearby the battle site. They sat by a small campfire with Idate, who was laying on the floor, still unconscious. Ino was currently treating him with the poison. "How is he, Ino?" Naruto asked with worry in his voice. "Well, right now he just needs some rest. The poison in his system was nothing special, so I gave him one of the anti-serums I made. One of the benefits of working in a flower shop is that you have access to all sorts of plants, some of which have healing properties, especially for poisons," Ino said with a proud smile of herself. "Impressive, Ino. You know, you actually make a very cute nurse. Remind me to get you a nurse uniform when we get back," Naruto said, as he tried to tease his girlfriend. Which worked brilliantly, as Ino was now blushing red. "Baka. Why would you get me that?" Ino demanded to know, with the heavy blush never leaving her face. "Like I said, you make a very cute nurse," Naruto said with a teasing wink, which causes the platinum blonde to get flustered. "Baka. Stop it," Ino yelled out, as her face was turning vermilion red. She knew Naruto was just messing with her, but she can get so easily flustered when it comes to her dear whiskers. "This is not the time, Naruto. Especially, when I'm around. I thought we talked about this," Shikamaru said with a deadpan look. They made an agreement to never have weird couple moments when the lazy Nara is present. "Hahaha, I'm just joking around, guys. Relax. But since we are still waiting for Idate to wake up, let's discuss about who we are dealing with." Naruto turned to a more serious and authoritative tone. "The AIM ninja we fought is a Jonin, but according to his chakra level, he has only mid to high Chunin level reserves. That's not even at Abyssa team's level, and that is saying something," Naruto informed, as he was able to gather enough information on the umbrella-wielding ninja from the short fight they had. "We didn't see him perform many ninjutsus either, which is odd for a supposed elite ninja. So whether, if he is still keeping his true power to himself, or he mostly relies on his weapons. Like the umbrella and that laser sword for example," Shikamaru added in his analysis as well. "Yeah, he called it the sword of the Thunder God, right? I never seen anything like it. It cut through Naruto-kun's jutsu like it was nothing." Ino added in, as she recalled what the unique sword could do. "So we can only assume that sword of his is able to repel any ninjutsu attacks," Shikamaru summarized. "I could trap him with my shadow, but his reflexes are too quick, and his senses are really sharp, judging from the way when he was able to dodge your liquid bullet and block my attack with his umbrella. But lucky for us, that thing is already out of commission, leaving only the sword," Shikamaru informed. "Maybe we can attack him simultaneously, from 3 different directions. He only has one sword after all, and he can block all our attacks at the same time," Ino suggested. "It's not just any sword." Idate finally spoke up, as he slowly sat up. He finally regained his consciousness, and managed to overhear Team 10's strategy meeting, regarding the AIM Jonin that had beaten the living crap out of him. "You're up. That's good, but take it easy," Ino said, with relief in her voice. "What do you mean, Idate? What is that sword?" Shikamaru asked. "It is the Raijin no Ken, the sword of the Thunder God. The great sword that was wielded by the second Hokage himself. And as long as Aoi has it, he is unbeatable," Idate informed Team 10, regarding the legendary treasured weapon of Konoha. "Unbeatable my ass," Naruto thought. The first time he had thought of him as weak and didn't try to use much force. Next time they meet, Naruto made sure to beat him, not just beat him, but humiliate him. "How do you know this, Idate? And how do you know that AIM ninja?" Shikamaru asked with narrowed eyes, feeling the wasabi runner is still not being honest with him. Idate remains silent, as he turns his head to look down on the floor with shame. "Idate, we can't help you, if can't tell us the truth," Naruto asked, with narrowed eyes, his tone cold and slightly commanding. "His name Aorakusho. He was my academy sensei when I was living in Konoha. One day, he betrayed the village, and became a Jonin of Omagakure, the Hidden Rain village." Idate had finally identified the mysterious AIM ninja. "And what does this have to do with you?" Naruto asked. But Idate remained silent after the question. He just couldn't bear the shame and guilt. "What happened, Idate?" Ino asked softly. I helped him betray the village." Idate finally admitting his biggest regret. "You helped him, why?" Ino asked out of shock. "It wasn't like I planned it, okay?" Idate yelled out defensively. If there is one thing he doesn't want to see himself as, is a willing traitor like Aoi. "When I failed the first test of the Chunin exam, I was depressed as hell. I was so sure I was going to make it. But I couldn't even pass the first test. All because my big brother, Ibiki, gave a stupid question in the end. Until this day, I have absolutely no clue what the answer is. I didn't know what to do." Idate began to explain how it all happened, but then, Aoi approached me. He told me there was another way for me to become Chunin aside from the exams. All I have to do, is do exactly what he tells me. Idate recalled the turning point of his biggest mistake. "And let me guess, he wanted you to steal something," Naruto assumes. "Yes. I managed to retrieve the items Aoi told me to collect. the scroll ceiling and the Raijin no Ken. After I gave them to him, Aoi finally told me the truth. That I actually stole the items, and I am now considered a rogue ninja. I didn't know what to do. Aoi told me to come with him to Omagakure and become a chunin there. It's either I stay and be locked up for the rest of my life, or go with him. I was completely trapped. He said to me, if you ever want to survive in this world, you mustn't trust anyone. Ever since then, I never returned to the Hidden Leaf Village again. I guess that is why I hate Shinobi so much. Because they are nothing but liars and thieves, and I am one of them. Idate finally admitted a simple truth about himself. Idate, that wasn't your fault. You were used and lied to by someone you were supposed to trust, just like our friend, Shiho, was. Ino said, trying to send out some words of comfort to the Wasabi runner. While Naruto, on the other hand, wondered if the security in Konoha was so bad that someone like Idate could steal a powerful weapon like the Sword of the Thunder God. Not only that, but it belonged to the second Hokage, for crying out loud. You don't understand. It was my fault. I was a complete idiot. An irresponsible kid who can't do a single thing right. But then, Boss Shiracho found me. He believed in me, when I couldn't even believe in myself. He was the one who gave me this pocket knife, and taught me that a blade is never meant to harm others, but peel fruits. Idate said, as he looked at the pocket knife in his hand, with some tears starting to fall from his eyes. Even though he knew I was no good, he still trusted me. He put his faith in me. And now, look what I have done. I failed. I am worthless. Everything I do goes wrong. Aoi was right, I have no right to live. Idate broke down crying before his bodyguards, who in turn couldn't help but feel sad for him as well. Naruto then walks forward and knelt down in front of Idate. He then places his hand with Wasabi runner's shoulder and began to speak. Failure is not the end, Idate. It is when we give up, is how it all ends. I know what it feels like to feel worthless, Idate. To feel that you don't matter. That nobody would care if I just disappear. To be all alone. I know that feeling since I was 4. But like you, I found people who believed in me too. And I would do anything for them, just like you would do the same for Jiracho-sen. They are precious people. And because they are precious, we cannot give up. They are the ones who gave us our strength, and we have a duty to use that strength for their sake. Because they are the things that are worth living for. Worth fighting for. And right now, I believe in you, Idate. So use my strength as well. And I hope you can believe in us too. Because you are a comrade, and we don't leave our comrades behind. Naruto said with his signature bright smile. Naruto Idate was completely speechless. The blonde boy was absolutely right. He was truly inspired by his words, which both Ino and Shikamaru shared the same feeling. To them, and the rest of Rookie 9. Despite his slow-fading hatred of all shinobis, Idate knew he can trust Naruto. The blonde Uzumaki truly seemed like someone that is worth believing in. I don't care what it takes, I will carry you there if I have to. This race is far from over, Idate. Naruto said with determination in his eyes. But Idate had some concerns, but was interrupted by the blonde Uzumaki. Jiracho-san is waiting for you, right? So let's not keep him waiting. Naruto said with an enthusiastic tone and a soft smile. Hearing that Jiracho is without a doubt waiting for him at the Todoroki shrine, was enough to give the Wasabi runner a lot more motivation to carry on. I'll do it. But I will need your help, Naruto-san. Idate with the same determination in his eyes. Haha, please, there is no need for formalities. Let's go win this race, Idate. Naruto said with a smile, as he offered his hand to pull the Wasabi runner up, which Idate gladly grabs it with his own. Naruto then began to carry Idate piggyback style, as he ran through the heavy rain to the Todoroki shrine, with Ino and Shikamaru behind him. Naruto had carried Idate all the way to the Todoroki shrine, along with Ino and Shikamaru behind them. They had to climb through a very long flight of stairs, but thankfully Naruto was a stamina monster. But unfortunately for his teammates who do not share his incredible endurance, was now panting from exhaustion, as they couldn't keep up with the blonde Uzumaki. They were almost too late, but luckily the arrogant Wagarashi runner, Fukusuke, decided to take his sweet-ass time to rest, and prematurely celebrate his victory. But as soon as the heavy rain finally stopped pouring, Fukusuke finally began to make his way to the Todoroki shrine, with his Ryuko jewel. When Idate arrived to Todoroki, all of his supporters happily cheered his name out, and was glad that he didn't run away like they thought he would, including Jiracho, who gave his young henchman a grateful smile. Idate was still wounded from Aoi's beating, but thanks to Ino's homemade healing ointment, he was able to take his Ryuko jewel, and run all the way to Todoroki, with Team 10 behind him. Naruto's words were still echoing in Idate's mind. The young Uzumaki was able to do the one thing that the Wasabi runner had been struggling for a long time. To finally trust in himself and others again. And if he couldn't do it for himself, then he should do it for the people that are precious to him. And he refuses to fail Jiracho, when he was the one who gave him his second chance in life. Bridge to Uzu Island. Fukusuke was now approaching a large wooden bridge that was being held by ropes, that will lead him straight to the Todoroki shrine on Uzu Island. Beneath the bridge was a deep river with strong currents. Falling in will definitely drown a normal person. I just have to cross this bridge, and I'm on Uzu Island, Fukazuki said with a victorious smirk. But then Aoi came out of nowhere next to him, surprising the Wagarashi runner. Well then get moving, Aoi said with a bored tone apparently. Idate has made it to the Todoroki shrine already. Aoi said, with a hint of worry in his eyes. What Fukazuki said out of disbelief. Yes, looks like I might have underestimated his little genin bodyguards. Aoi said with narrowed eyes. He refuses to be outdone by a bunch of kids. You incompetent fool. You said you took care of him. Fukazuki yelled out. I thought I had, but now is not the time to discuss it. Hurry up and cross the bridge, Aoi ordered with a frustrated tone. Useless ninja. You are completely worthless. Fukazuki said with a scoff, but his arrogance had greatly offended the Jonin. Aoi then grabs Fukazuki by his throat and started choking him. If there is one thing he hates, is being disrespected by trash like the Wagarashi runner. Listen you. I am here helping you because I have to. Because it's my duty. But one more little crack like that, I will break you in half, Aoi threatened as he tightens his hold. Okay, sorry, Fukazuki begged for his mercy. That's better. Now get moving. Aoi said, as he loosened his grip and tossed Fukazuki forward. Right, Fukazuki fearfully said, before he crosses the bridge, and run all the way to the other side. Aoi then senses Idate was approaching the bridge, so he shunshed away to hide and prepare for the Wasabi runner's arrival. As Idate was near the bridge to Uzu Island, he smiled happily that he was able to see Fukazuki still crossing it, meaning that he can still catch up and win the race. But then, he was hit by something strong, that sends a powerful jolt of static shock to his body. It was Aoi, wielding the legendary Reincarnation. Its glowing yellow blade made of pure electrical energy, was emitting a strong sound that is similar to the humming of a laser. Well, what a surprise. I have to admit. I never thought you would make it this far. Aoi said, as he retracted the energy blade back to the handle. Idate was in great pain from the earlier attack, but he was able to glare heavily at his former treacherous sensei. He will not be manipulated by him again. As Aoi notices that Fukazuki has already reached to the other of the bridge, he used the Reincarnation to cut through the ropes that was holding the bridge together, completely severing Idate's chances of reaching the Todoroki shrine. No. Stop. Idate yelled out, and went to stop the Jonin from cutting the last rope, but he was too late. Idate was then hit by the electrical sword again. Aoi made sure to use the sword non-lethally, so that he can enjoy Idate's suffering. Why bother even trying? Nobody is a match for the legendary sword of the Thunder God. The same sword that was wielded by the second Hokage himself. Aoi boasted his powerful stolen weapon. But then again, you know all about it. Don't you, Idate? After all, you're the one who stole it and brought it to me. Aoi said with a smirking grin, hoping to get under the Wasabi runner's skin. You goddamn snake. Idate said with gritted teeth. Sticks and stones may break my bones, Aoi said in a sing-song manner. But then he heard someone yelling from behind him. Then tried this on for size asshole. Naruto had finally arrived, and threw a single wind-enhanced shuriken towards the Jonin. Naruto then made a couple of hand seals, as the shuriken was still in midair. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. The single wind chakra-enhanced shuriken then turned into hundreds, causing the Jonin's eyes to whiten. Aoi saw this and panicked a bit. What kind of genin is capable of such skill and power? Not only the little blonde Konoha ninja was able to perform such powerful jutsus, but the supposed Jonin couldn't even detect his presence before he yelled out. Aoi then tries his best to dodge all the extremely sharp projectiles, but his body was suffering from many cuts, as some of the shurikens were able to land a hit on him. He then used the Reincarnation to create some sort of electrical barrier around him, to block the rest of the shurikens. So the sword is capable of defense as well. Not bad, Tobirama Naruto thought. Not bad, kid. But like I said, as long as I have the legendary Reincarnation, I am unstoppable. Aoi said with a grin, but it wasn't enough to impress the young Uzumaki. You really should look yourself in the mirror before you call yourself unstoppable. Naruto said with a smirk, since even with the sword, Aoi had many cuts all over his body. TSK, you can throw all your little tricks you want. It doesn't matter. This sword can cut through anything. It can even cut through chakra like it was water. Aoi said in a boastful manner, indicating that no ninjutsu attacks would work on him. Well, what do you expect? It was made from Tobirama Senju. After all, from all the cages of Konoha, he was one who knew that sometimes you need to make the hardest choice for the greater good. Naruto said with a completely different tone, a tone that even the Jonin felt a shiver. Then you know it is futile to challenge me. So how about you run along, and let me finish my business with my old student here? Aoi said with a smirk. Nah. Here's my counter-offer, team. How about you drop the sword, and surrender? Naruto said with carefree tone, that eventually turned serious at the end. Hahaha, why would I do that? This sword is mine. The Jonin said, as he held tightly to the sword handle. Wrong, it's my family's. Naruto said with narrowed eyes. After all, his grandmother was a Senju, and his mother was half Senju and half Uzumaki, and his father was an Uchiha. Family? Oh, I see. You were Senju. And here I thought that Asbin clan is already extinct. Hahaha, is the little Senju upset because I stole his family's precious toy? Aoi said with a mocking tone, but he then realizes something that immediately put a large grin on his face. But it seems fortune is on my side. Killing you and ending your bloodline will make me legendary. Aoi said with a proud tone. That's a lot of big talk from a traitor and a worthless coward. Naruto said, a deadpan look and a smirk. What did you call me, brat? Aoi asked dangerously with narrowed eyes. You heard me. You are nothing but an honorless traitor and a pathetic coward. You use Ide to steal that sword because you knew you were nothing without it. You rely on your tools more than your own power, because in reality you are nothing but an average shinobi. Naruto is practically roasting the aim jonin before him. Shut up, Aoi said angrily under his breath, believing the young Uzumaki is now walking on thin ice. Do you think killing me will make you legendary? Ha. What kind of legend will you have, Aoi? A slimy thief. An honorless traitor. A gutless worm. Naruto mocked with a carefree tone. The blonde Uzumaki really likes to rile up his opponents, especially when they make it so easy. Why you, little brat? Aoi yelled out, with rage in his eyes. Ho, I can literally feel your anger. Looks like I really got under your skin, eh, team? Naruto said with a victorious smirk. Ide was just watching the interaction between the two. He can't believe Naruto is verbally roasting his treacherous former sensei so easily. I'm going to cut you up, you little. Aoi didn't get to finish his sentence, as he heard the sound of a loud feminine voice, coming from behind him. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Multiple fireballs were shot from Ino's mouth, that was sent towards Aoi's direction. The aim jonin used his sword to cut through several of the fireballs, but one of them was able to land on the ground in front of him, causing an explosion that sends him flying with some burns. Ino then jumped and landed beside Naruto. It's about time you guys show up. I was running out of insults. Naruto admitted, as he was glad to see his platinum blonde lady. Wait, you were stalling all along? Ide asked. Of course, I can't leave my team out of the fun now, can I? Naruto said with a smile. I'm going to kill you all. Aoi said, as he got up from Ino's attack, and started charging towards the blonde duo and the wasabi runner. But suddenly, he felt his body completely paralyzed. Shadow possession success, Shikamaru said from his hiding spot, as he was able to catch aim jonin when he was distracted. Good job, Shika. Now then, Naruto said, as he slowly approached the immobilized Aoi, and took the Regino-ken off his treacherous hand. The legendary sword is finally back in the hands of a Senju. No? That's mine. Aoi yelled out. Wrong again, Aoi, it's my great uncle's, and now it's mine. Naruto whispered in his ear, so that Shikamaru and Ide won't hear. What? You are, Aoi stuttered a bit, realizing the blonde boy standing before him is the nephew of a legendary ninja of Konoha. That's right, Aoi. And the reason I am admitting it to you is because, well, let's just say you won't be able to tell anyone else soon. Dead man tell no tales, Naruto still whispering in Aoi's ear, with a monotone voice, to hide his displeasure for what's to come. What? Wait, you can't. Aoi said fearfully. Shika, if you don't mind. Naruto simply asked his lazy best friend. Understanding what he meant, Shikamaru then knelt down on both knees and placed his hands behind his back, causing Aoi to do the same, as the shadow possession is still active. He was preparing him for his execution. Aoi Akusho of Omagakure. For all the crimes you have committed against Konohagakure, I, Naruto Uzumaki, Genin of Konoha, sentence you to die. Do you have any last words? Naruto said with a monotone voice, as he activated the Regino-ken in his hand, making Aoi even more fearful. Ino then used her mind transmission with Naruto. She needed to ask him something before he does anything he might regret. Naruto-kun, are you sure about this? Ino asked in her mind, hoping that her blonde boyfriend is doing what was absolutely necessary. Yes, Ino. He stole something that doesn't belong to him. Naruto explained his mind, hoping that Ino won't resent him for his decision. I do, Naruto-kun. And, I'll be here if you need me, Ino thought kindly. She was ready to help him if he needs her. Thank you. Naruto thought gratefully, then he turns his attention to Aoi. Wait. Please forgive me. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Ide. Just take me back to Konoha as your prisoner. Please. I'll do anything. Aoi desperately begging for mercy. Whatever pride he had left was completely gone. Sorry, but according to the bingo book, Konoha wants you dead. So this is the end for you, Naruto said, as he raised the energy sword above him. Nuo. Aoi yelled with tears in his eyes. Naruto then used the Raijin no Ken to separate Aoi's head from his shoulders, killing the manipulative traitor once and for all. It's done, Naruto said with a hidden smirk on his face, as he retracted the energy blade back to his handle. He wondered for a second what to do with the sword, but decided to just give it the old Kage, after all his mother's sword was superior than this one. You okay, Naruto? Shikamaru asked. Naruto looked at the lazy Nara with worry. Yeah, listen Shika, Naruto didn't get finished his explanation, as the Nara beat him to it. Stop. We're cool, man. You don't have to worry about what I think. We're ninjas after all. Shikamaru said with a smile to his best friend. Shikamaru knew that Naruto was worried that he would think less of him after what he did, but even he could see that what Naruto did was the right choice. Thanks Naruto said with a grateful smile. He was truly blessed with a great team. As Idate sees the interaction between the Genin trio in front of him, he couldn't help but be amazed by their close bonds with each other. Even if they are just teammates, they are also friends, and they will always look after one another. Seeing this made Idate realize something. His eyes widened as he had finally found the answer. The answer to the question that has haunted him for many years. The 10th question, by his big brother Biki, for the first test of his Chunin exams. To never betray comrade. It all made sense to him now. The 10th question was an underhand test, to see if you would sell out your comrade in order to become a Chunin. He was truly ashamed that he didn't see this before. Konoha had always valued teamwork and unity. Idate, are you okay? Naruto asked the deep-thinking Wasabi runner, immediately snapping him away from his thoughts. Yeah. Sorry I was lost in thought, Idate answered honestly. I know how you feel, Naruto said with a smile. So, what now? Aoi destroyed the bridge to Uzu Island. There is no way around it. And even if there is, the race would be over by the time we reach the Todoroki shrine. Idate said with a grim tone. Don't worry, I think I got that covered. Naruto said with a reassuring tone. The young Uzumaki then walks to the edge of the cliff and knelt down on the ground. He then placed his open hand on the rocky surface and started channeling large amount of earth chakra. Suddenly, a large bridge made of earth was formed, linking Nagia Island to Uzu Island. Idate, Ino and Shikamaru had their jaws dropped at the sight of Naruto's power. It was truly a rare sight to see. Idate was the first to approach the earth bridge and used his foot to test its durability. Idate then turns to Naruto, as if he was looking for his approval. Run Idate, run. Naruto simply said with his bright smile. Idate smiled back and began to run in full speed on the ice bridge and eventually crossing to the other side, with Team 10 behind him. The Todoroki Shrine. Many people from Port Degarashi had gathered to see who would cross the finish line first. The majority was really hoping that Idate would win, so that the Wagarashi will not have any more control over the town for another 4 years. But this year however was different. Instead of 4 years, the losing family will have to disband forever if their opponent's runner wins the race. A simple yet devious ultimatum created by the cunning minister of Port Degarashi. Standing at the Todoroki shrine was the slime minister himself, along with the daimyo of the land of tea, and the heads of both the Wasabi and the Wagarashi, Jiracho and Kairoku. As they all continued to wait, they were able to see one of the runners approaching. Unfortunately, it was Fukazuka of the Wagarashi. Many of the people booed loudly for his arrival, but was also disappointed that he was the first to arrive instead of Idate. Will this be end for the honorable Wasabi family? Fukazuka simply shrugged off their boos with his narcissistic personality. With his arrogance clouding his judgment, he decided to simply jog to the shrine, as he believes that his victory is already inevitable. With Jiracho, the Wasabi members had their faces filled with disappointment. They had their hopes restored when they saw Idate reach the Todoroki shrine. But the question is, will Fukazuka arrive to the shrine before him? The minister was smugly grinning, as he felt a great sense of satisfaction. Excellent was all the minister could think of. Come on, Idate. I know you can do it, Jiracho said, with his unbreakable faith in Idate never wavered. The daimyo, however, was still not convinced that this race has been fair from the very start. And his worries were cemented when he saw Asuma approaching him. Have you acquired the evidence, Asuma-san? The daimyo whispered. Yes, daimyo-sama. Everything you need is in here. Asuma said as he handed the daimyo a document. Good, well done. The daimyo thanked the Konoha Jonin. As Asuma immediately shunshin away, the minister turned his head to ask the daimyo. My lord, is something wrong? The minister asked. He didn't see Asuma, but he was sure that somebody came to inform something to the daimyo. It's fine, nothing to worry about. The daimyo said with a calm tone. Indeed my lord, it seems the Wagarashi will soon win this race. The minister said with a satisfied smirk. Perhaps, but until one of the runners approach the finish line, this race isn't over yet. The daimyo said. With the crowd. Hey, is that? One of the onlookers said, as he noticed something fast was approaching. It's Idate from the Wasabi family. Here he comes. One of the onlooker yelled happily out loud. A large crowd of people cheered loudly out of joy for the Wasabi runner's arrival, as hope has been restored in their hearts. Idate ran in his full speed, as the crowd continues to give their undying support for the Wasabi runner. Idate, Jiracho said with happiness, of seeing his favorite young henchman arriving just in time. Fukazuka sees this, and a strong sense of fear was starting to build up in his head. Especially when the Wagarashi head, Kairoku, yelled out for his stupidity and demanded him to run faster. He then finally picked up the pace and started sprinting faster, but Idate is already caught up to him. I can't lose. No matter what happens, I am not going to fail Boss Shiracho. Idate yelled out loud, mostly to himself. But then he heard Naruto's words continue to repeat in his mind. Failure is not the end, Idate. It is when give up is how it all ends. I am not giving up, not until the very end. Idate yelled out, as he continued to sprint next to Fukazuka. Forget it. No one is pulling ahead of me now. Not when I came all this way. Fukazuka yelled out, refusing to lose. It was currently neck to neck as both runners refused to give the other the edge. Come on, Idate. Keep going, you can do it. Jiracho said, as he went to the finish line, to greet his young henchman personally. Which the wasabi runner was very grateful to see. Boss Idate said, with happy tears in his eyes. They are the ones who gave us our strength, and it is our duty to use that strength for their sake. Because they are precious to us. Seeing his precious boss's unbreakable faith in him, and hearing Naruto's inspiring words in his head, was all the boost he needed. He then began to run faster and faster, until he finally had the edge. Eventually, Idate was the one who broke the finishing tape, and his hard work and effort had finally won the Wasabi family the race. Everyone cheered for his victory. It was truly a new day for the people of Port Degarashi. Fukasu collapsed from exhaustion, leaving Kairoko and the minister to have their jaws drop for their loss. Idate then places his Ryuko jewel on the Todoroki shrine, finally completing the long race. I did it, hahaha, holy crap, I actually did it, Idate said, as he was lying on his back and panting heavily. You sure did, Idate. That was a good race, son. Jiracho happily said, as he approached Idate. Boss Jiracho, Idate said, he was happy to see his boss again. You did very well, Jiracho said with a smile. Thank you, Boss Jiracho, Idate said with a bow. No, thank you, Idate. Now come on now, this is your day, they are all waiting for you. Jiracho said. Idate then got up and followed Jiracho outside. As Idate walked out of the shrine, he was greeted by many applauses and cheers. His cheeks were blushing red, and he rubbed the back of his head shyly. From the distance, no one can really hear the sounds of a brutal beating of Fukazuka by the angry Wagarashi family. Idate is now standing on a podium, with a proud yet humble look on his face. The winner. Idate Morino of the Wasabi family. The announcer declared. The crowd cheered loudly, and among them were Team 10 as they managed to arrive just in time. They were very proud of their fourth comrade, and was happy that he didn't give up. Well, I guess that's that. Ino said with a smile. Yup, looks like he finally did it, Naruto said with his own smile. But apparently, someone was being a poor loser and decided to snake his way for a win. Hold it right there. That's enough. The head of the Wagarashi said, stopping the applause and cheers. Kairoku. Jiracho wonders, what is the Wagarashi head up to now? It seems that this kid had ride on the back of a hired ninja for a part of the race. That's a violation. Kairoko said with a smirk. What the hell? That's not a violation. Ino yelled out among the crowd. I have proof. Just take a look at this photograph. Kairoku then showed a photograph of Idate riding on Naruto's back when they were heading to the Todoroki shrine. They have to make it here on their own strength. Those are the only rules for this race. Idate must be disqualified. The minister added in. Which means that Fukazuka Kikuya of the Wagarashi family is the winner. The minister said with a smug smirk on his face. What? It can't be. Jiracho said in disbelief. Wait a minute, that's. Idate tried to defend his actions, but was interrupted by the minister. I will have none of your excuses, boy. Jiracho, you gave your word. I want the Wasabi family disbanded immediately. The minister ordered, with a large grin. But it soon faded when he heard the daimyo finally spoke up. Just a moment. There is no such rule. Stop talking nonsense. The daimyo said in annoyance. But my lord. The minister said. But what? Are you suggesting that I let the Wagarashi win simply because you wish it? The daimyo asked the minister, with a raised eyebrow. No, of course not, the minister can't come up with a better excuse. Perhaps the reason you want them to win so badly is that it will lead to an end to all the bribes you have been accepting. Look here, the daimyo then showed a picture that was taken by Asuma of the minister accepting bribes from the head of the Wagarashi, Kairoku. The minister's eyes were widened with fear as he was caught red-handed. You ignoramus. You will give up your position and don a monk's robe. You will retire and enter the monastery. Is that clear? The daimyo ordered furiously. Yes, my lord. The now former minister said, with a defeated bow. And you, Kairoku Wagarashi. The daimyo then turns his attention to the head of the Wagarashi. Yes. Kairoku said fearfully. I have heard a great deal of the evil deeds you have committed. Your crimes against the people of Port Degarashi are unforgivable. From this point on, the Wagarashi family is no more. Is that clear? The daimyo ordered. Yes sir, Kairoku answered, in a defeated tone. Haha, an auspicious day. Now let us consider this matter ended. The daimyo joyfully announced. The crowd then cheered loudly for the end of the Wagarashi family. The harbor, Port Degarashi, 3 days later. Team 10 is now saying their goodbyes to the Wasabi family, as a Konoha boat was sent to pick them up. I want to thank you for all your help, Naruto. Idate said, as he offered his hand for a handshake. It was a pleasure, Idate. Naruto said, as he returned the handshake with the Wasabi runner. But then the genins of Team 10 heard a familiar voice coming from the boat. Are you all done yet? I don't have all day. One of Jonins on the boat said to the group. This Jonin was wearing his headband like a bandana, and has 2 long scars on his face. But apparently, his appearance was a surprising shock to the Wasabi runner. Big brother Ibiki. Idate said, surprised to see his big brother again. Big brother Ibiki, Team 10 said in unison. Well, lighten up, Ibiki. My cute little team just want to say their goodbyes, that's all. Asuma coolly said, as he stood next to Ibiki, with a lit cigarette in his mouth. Well, like I said, I don't have all day. Plus, I left Anko in charge of tea while I was gone, so you can only imagine the amount of pain she will bring to the prisoners. Ibiki said, with an amused smirk on his face. We better head home, otherwise there won't be any prisoners left. Asuma suggested. Right, Naruto said nervously at the thought, as he and his team got on the boat. Big brother. Idate called out, but was ignored. Big brother, please wait. Idate called out once more. This was able to stop Ibiki from taking another step. Who are you? Only one person called me that. And he died 3 years ago. Ibiki said coldly. Big brother, I figured out the answer to the 10th question. I will never betray comrade again. I'm sorry it took me so long. But, I know what it means now, to trust others. Idate said with determination in his eyes. I see. Is all Ibiki could say. I won't run away again. I will never give up. And I promise, I will make you proud. Idate said with the same determination, never leaving his eyes. You better. Ibiki simply said, as he got on the boat, but was smiling for his long-lost brother. You grown up well, little brother. Ibiki thought proudly. The boat was beginning to sail away from the harbor, but Naruto and Ino wanted to say their final goodbyes from the deck of the ship. So long, Idate. I hope we will meet again someday. Naruto said. Yeah, take care Idate. Ino added in. You got it. You guys come back anytime. Idate told the blonde pair. Take care of yourself, Jiracho-san. Naruto said to the Wasabi family head. You as well, Naruto-san. Jiracho said with a smile. As they continued to say their goodbyes, Ibiki couldn't help but look at Naruto with respect in his eyes. I can see why Anko, the so-called sadistic blood-loving snake mistress, can be so fond of him. You really have a way with people, don't you, Naruto? Thank you for helping my little brother. Ibiki thought gratefully for the young Uzumaki. Naruto. Thanks again. Idate said as he was chasing the sailing boat. Next time we see each other, let's have a race. Just you and me. Naruto yelled out with a bright smile. You got it. Idate yelled back happily. The boat then finally left the port and is now sailing straight to Konoha. On the boat, with Team 10. So, what do you guys think of your first C-rank turn-airing mission? Asuma asked his Genin team. It was cool. It was intense. It was troublesome. Hahaha, well, you all did great. I'm very proud of you 3. I'm just sorry I couldn't be there with you guys though, Asuma said, feeling bad that he wasn't there to protect his team. It's okay, sensei. Besides, if it wasn't for you, the Wagarashi would have snaked the Wasabi's win away. Naruto tried to cheer up his sensei, who indeed did his part to ensure they accomplished their mission. Thanks, kiddo. But I think the daimyo would have done something nevertheless. He just needed more evidence. Besides, I hate detective work. So next time, I'm definitely fighting alongside you guys. Asuma said with a smile. Well, right now I just can't wait to get back home and have a nice long bath, Ino said with a warm smile, but Naruto saw this as another opportunity. Then maybe I'll join you, Naruto whispered in her ear teasingly, which causes the Yamanaka to turn vermilion red like before. Bibaka. Stop it. Ino whispered loudly back to her teasing boyfriend. But then again, she didn't really say no. Why? This is troublesome. Shika moaned in annoyance, why his best friend must like so much to flirt. Asuma chuckled in amusement, wondering where the future would take them. Well, all this happened somewhere else. Itachi. As he walked to the tree with the whirlpool mark, the winds blew from behind. Turning around, he was met with a face he had not seen for a long time now. Naruto-kun, it's good to see you again, little brother, Itachi said warmly before much to his surprise the blonde hugged him tightly. The Uchiha returned the hug before pulling away. It's good to see you Itachi, I hope I'm not ruining anything for you, Naruto said, knowing they didn't exactly have a lot of time. It's alright Naruto, I sent the message to Ao, and he gave me this, Itachi spoke giving Naruto a piece of paper. Naruto read the information before burning the paper on his hands. Very well, this will be a good barging chip, and how is your right eye? Naruto asked concerned. Itachi just shrugged it off. Nothing, I have been much worse. He suddenly stopped talking as he looked lost in thoughts for a moment. I need to go Naruto-kun, I hope you have made the deal with the leader of Land of Tea, Itachi asked, and much to his relief, Naruto nodded his head. I did. Land of Tea is only allies to me. They will keep their alliance to Konoha until I say so, Naruto answered as, to his surprise, Itachi rubbed his blonde hair. See you later little brother, Itachi said before his body turned to crows. Soon big brother, soon. Earlier, night. The leader of the Land of Tea was happily enjoying a tea when the door opened, revealing a masked shinobi. Who are you? Asked the leader, standing up, only now noticing that the guards weren't coming inside despite the shouting. The masked man said nothing before throwing a scroll at him. The old leader slowly opened the scroll, afraid it was some trap. Fully opening it, he started reading. Immediately his eyes whitened, cold sweat rolled down his cheeks, his lips trembling. Immediately the man kneeled in front of him. What can I do for you my lord? Naruto smirked behind the mask before giving his first order. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.